Hey guys, Clay Edwards here. I want to tell you real quick about RC Lawn Care. My buddy Richard Coley is going to be the guy you need to contact for all of your lawn maintenance needs. You can reach him at 601-502-3529. They offer roof to curb service, blowing off the roof, gutter cleaning, basic lawn care including mow, trim, edge, and blow, full lawn cleanup, trash removal, garden supplies delivered, pine straw installs, driveway and sidewalk pressure washing. If grass is growing, you need RC Lawn Care Mowing. Again, 601-502-3529. Richard Coley at RC Lawn Care, proud sponsor of the Clay Edwards Show podcast. Unfiltered, not a lick of sugar, not a drop, not an ounce, not a speckle of sugar added. Talk radio, right here, the realest show on radio. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I am Clay Edwards. I forget my lines sometimes. When I veer off course, talking about no sugar added, I forget to say the other part of that, right? The free-range human show of choice, your daily dose of reality radio. There we go. Got it all out. Good morning. Flying solo this morning. You know, every now and then you just have a rough night's sleep. I woke up about 4 o'clock, and I could not get back to sleep. I bought a new bedspread a couple months ago, like a whole new comforter set. And it's comfortable, except that it traps heat, unlike any comforter I've ever had. I'm keeping my house around 61 with 2 fans on in the bedroom. Ceiling fan, floor fan. Gosh, it's polar outside the covers, but I'm sweating under the covers. I've got to go get a new comforter. It's messing my sleep up. Anyway, so if I sound a little off this morning, I'm rolling on about 5 hours sleep instead of my normal 6.5. But woe is me. We are live. Hey, real quick, Guns and Gear text line 769-241-1944. You can chime in, your thoughts, opinions. If you got something you want us to talk about, shoot it into me. Coming up in the second hour, well, hold on, the phone line, 601-879-0002. You can chime in, same thing. Coming up in the second hour, I'm going to have some guests here in the studio. An old friend of mine that I've known for 30 years-ish, John Gallagher, and a new buddy of mine, a guy I met here recently, Eddie Poole. I like Eddie a lot. Seems like a good dude. They're big into the recovery lifestyle, you know, drug, alcohol abuse, recovery, that type of stuff. They're holding a big event, free to the public. I don't mind lending my platform to people who are bringing awareness to things and they're not making money off of it. They're holding a big event this Saturday, Saturday morning or Saturday at midday type thing. They're at the Tornado Safe Room area, the Brandon Multipurpose Building, right down by the amphitheater. They're going to be in here discussing that, telling you who they are, tell you their stories. I'm looking forward to it. They stopped by and saw me a couple of weeks ago for what should have been about a 5-minute meeting that turned into a 2-hour meeting. So good stuff. Because I think you guys will enjoy it. Let's see here. I got a text on the Guns and Gear text line. It says, game changer. Played the thermostat game with the bride as long as I could. It sent me a link here to sleep.me. I'll check that out. I'll have to check that out. All right. Jackson, you know, bear with me. I got to tell y'all one more thing because we got a lot of LOL Jackson. There's going to be a big LOL Jackson and LOL Obama show today. Real quick, I am participating in the Real Men Wear Pink fundraising campaign to help find a cure for breast cancer. You know, Clay loves the tatas. I do. Ain't no doubt. I know y'all do too. Y'all do too. Let's save them. Let's save the women in our lives. You know, we all love our women, our moms, daughters, sisters, cousins, friends. You know, let's help defeat breast cancer. We all know somebody in our 6 degrees of separation that's been affected by breast cancer, and definitely cancer at minimum. So let's, if you guys are interested in donating to my fundraiser, holler at me. I'll shoot you the link. You can just make a direct donation to the American Cancer Society, and it'll just show up towards my fundraiser. I set my goal to raise $5,000. I think I've raised about $50, so I could use y'all's help. Be much appreciated. I'm going to throw an event here soon, a big dinner or something, have a few speakers. I think something you guys will all enjoy. So I've been working on that vigorously. And so I have much appreciation there. And real quick also, Doug Shank's funeral will be this Monday. If you were interested in the details on that, I shared them on my Facebook page. So it'll be funeral Monday, and would like to see everybody there that knew Doug. So, okay, here we go. LOL Jackson. Well, that didn't take long, did it? That did not take long. It appears that the new public works director, who was the old public works director, has already said, I quit again. I'm out. Audi 5 to the doghouse. Yep, that's right. It appears that he's gone. But, and he blames it on his mental health and all this. Says, respect my privacy. Didn't Kenneth Stokes say something yesterday? I'm waiting on this WLBT article, little segment here to load up. All right, here we go. And I'm going to give my 2 cents after this. This is WLBT, just like Maggie Wade and CJ LeMasters.
Searching for its next public works director after the one they hired just over a month ago has quit for the second time.
3 News Live's Joseph Doring now joins us live from the Public Works Department with the very latest. Joseph.
Maggie, Khalid Woods served only 11 days as Jackson's public works director before quitting on the job the first time. And after the city announced his resignation today, Woods served less than 20 days on the job before quitting a second time. Woods was hired in July to be the city's 6th public works director in the last 3 years. After he quit the first time, Mayor Chokwe Ntara Lumumba announced Woods was back in his role in August. The city says Woods submitted his resignation Monday, but the news wasn't announced until today. Woods cited his lack of productivity and mental health as reasons for his decision, and Councilman Aaron Banks says he's now concerned if they'll ever find the right person.
Let me intervene. No, you won't. You will never find the right person.
Look, I think that there's a lot that's been going on in the Department of Public Works. I think when you look at the invoices that have been unpaid, when you look at businesses that have done work and their contractual obligations, I think, anybody looking at that has to take a serious look. My concerns are if we're going to be able to hire anyone.
The city still has a $25,000 investment in a firm that will continue to search for the city's next candidate. And Councilman Banks wasn't able to answer whether or not that an interim public works director will be put in place while the nationwide search for the next candidate continues. For now, we're live at the Public Works Department in downtown Jackson. Joseph Doring.
A nationwide search. Well, you mean to tell me there ain't nobody in Jackson qualified to do this? This guy sure wasn't. There's nobody in Jackson with one of those Jackson State degrees that's qualified to do this. There's nobody that's been coming up through the system in Jackson, in the Public Works Department, a number 2 guy or girl that's qualified to do this. That's interesting. I bet you a $100 bill right now. Jake Wyndham, I hope you're listening this morning. I'm about to talk good about you. I bet a $100 bill right now that in Pearl, Mississippi, there's a number 1, a number 2, and probably a number 3 that could step up if the current public works director retired, resigned, or whatever. I bet you they've got a grooming process, and not that kind of grooming, lefties, the good kind. A grooming process for the next man up. And I'm just using Pearl as my example, because I have a lot of respect for my good friend over there, Jake. It's just something about a guy. I'm going to shift courses here. It's something about, now look, man, I grew up in South Jackson. Pearl was our biggest rival. Hell, me and Jake became buddies because he got mad at me for making a video poking fun at Pearl. I said, I'm just making this because y'all won. y'all won the war. Pearl won. South Jackson. I'm waving the white flag over here. As much as I live in Brandon, but my heart's in Pearl, man. I love Pearl. Love all my friends in Pearl. They have opened their doors up and treated me like family. Brandon as well. That's funny. I'm probably like the only guy that ain't got a dog in the race between Pearl and Brandon. I love them both. I pull for both of them on Friday nights. And when they play each other, I don't like it. Like some people don't like it when State and Ole Miss play each other. I don't like it when Pearl and Brandon do because half my friends are going to be upset. It's always a great game, though. Anyway, great leadership. A guy like Jake grew up in Pearl, family owned a business in Pearl, graduated in Pearl, was a Pearl cop. I mean, he could very well be the next Mr. Pearl when he decides to retire. The football stadium could be named after him one day. We don't have that in Jackson. Who's Mr. Jackson? Who's the guy you look to and say, man, that guy has the best interest of this city running through his veins? I used to. I have a Jackson, Mississippi tattoo on my arm. But Jackson turned his back on folks like me. So y'all don't want us. It started with Chockway Senior's dad. I mean, not Chockway Senior's dad. It's Chockway's dad, Chockway Senior. When he said Jackson didn't need no white business owners. I tell me Jackson don't need no white people. Business owners or not. See how that's working out for him. How's that working out for y'all? I'm going to take a sip of water, cool down. I'm hot. Now, who is Mr. Jackson right now? Who's got the best interest of this city running through their veins? That could be mayor of this city. I think Kim Wade. Kim Wade's my dear friend. Unfortunately, a lot of knuckleheads don't want any law and order, don't want somebody who's going to try to do something right. But I think there's enough good people left that could push Kim across that finish line. Real talk. Hashtag. Let's dive into the text messages here on the Guns and Gear text line. Sean, both of my Seans are listening this morning. One of my Seans says Bo Lucky for mayor of Jackson. I've heard Bo Lucky for mayor of another town. We'll see how all that shakes out. My co-host and friend Sean Yerkeron, okay, he's talking about a good article. But we'll get to that here later. Kim Wade, we're gonna have to have somebody turn Jackson around. I would love to move back to a safe Jackson one day. And personally, I'm not a downtown Fondren Belhaven guy. I like the other areas of the city. Nothing against it, really. It just ain't my thing. It's never been my thing. Even 20 years ago, I was never a Fondren Belhaven guy. Just a little too liberal for me. A little too frou-frou for me. All right, let's take a break real quick. Come back. If you follow me on TikTok, at SaveJXN, I gave out another effed around and found out award yesterday morning. Somehow me and Sean did the whole show. I forgot to even bring it up. News broke before we went live. But there's an update to it. So when we get back, we're going to discuss that and more. This is the Clay Edwards Show, 103.9 FM, WYAB. All right, welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. This segment is going to be brought to you by A1 Gear and Auto, located right there on Highway 49 South in Florence. If you're going south on 49, they're right there on your right. If you're passing by everybody's favorite Tom Fried Pies, right there in Richland, keep on going south. They're going to be on the right, big white building, big red sign. Go see Justin and the team today and get your vehicle repaired, whether it's a check engine light, your air conditioner's not working, brakes grinding, a funny noise you can't quite figure out, something ain't right. They'll make it right. But what they specialize in is your ring and pinion, transfer case, all that good stuff. If you're having any issues with your four-wheel drive, get it by there. You're hearing any kind of roaring sound coming out of your vehicle, get it by there. They're the leader in the industry when it comes to gears, rings, pinions, so much so it's in their name. Get by and see them today. That's A1 Gear and Auto, Florence, Mississippi, Highway 49 South. I've sent 3 of my personal vehicles over there, or family members' vehicles over there, in the last month or so. Boom, 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 back on the road. All right. Okay, look, since I teased it, we'll do this first. But I just found another story I did want to talk about. And so it had been yesterday morning, I guess, around 2 a.m., 4 a.m. So here it is. According to the Highway Patrol, the incident happened around 4:12 a.m. on Highway 80. 3 people are dead after a police chase resulted in a multi-vehicle accident Wednesday. So there was four little we'll call them people, were in a 2013 Hyundai Elantra attempting to evade law enforcement. They were traveling, it don't matter what they were doing. They were running from the police, and they ran a red light, presumably, and they hit a Dodge Ram truck. The driver of the Ram was all right. 3 passengers had been, 2 of them got thrown from the vehicle, and they were found on road dead. Another one died, I believe, in the car. 3 passengers have been identified: 18-year-old Jemiah Smith of Canton, 25-year-old Jalen Black of Jackson, and 30-year-old Dante Ingram of Jackson. Imagine that. Jackson and Canton teaming up to steal cars in Jackson. Imagine for a second. The last thing on this earth you do is run from the police in a stolen Hyundai. A Elantra, not even a Sonata. An Elantra. A stolen Elantra. Not a Corvette. Not a Porsche, not a Ferrari. Not even a Chevy or a Ford. An Elantra. Have some respect for yourselves. A 20, what year Elantra? What year did it say? A 10-year-old Elantra? I mean, it ought not even be a felony for stealing a 10-year-old Elantra. What is that? What's grand larceny now? $1,000? It used to be $500. I found out the hard way one time when I was under 18. Come on, man. I mean, if you're going to be out here doing dirt in the city, make it worth your while. You're going to die over it. Make it worth your while. Pull over. Dang it. Parents, get a hold of your kids. Canton, Jackson moms, the meritocracy. Get a hold of your kids. Get a hold of your babies. Now, I'm sure. I did a live feed yesterday from the house. I'm trying to bring the live feeds back, the live streams back. Had a good time the last 2 days doing them. I did one yesterday afternoon, and one of our good friends, Roger, brought it up. He said, "Yeah, the mamas, they're gonna be all over the place. Then my babies, the police shouldn't have been chasing my babies. He's a good kid. He ain't do nothing wrong. He was going places. He was going to jail. That's the only place he was going." Jail. Kid wasn't going places. I mean, look, we never want to see anybody die. That's the whole point of this. That's the whole point in this stuff. I don't want to see these kids. I want to see every one of these kids become future rocket scientists. We'll all be better for it. But first, they got to quit being thugs. You got an 18-year-old. Let me pull this back up. You got an 18-year-old, a 25-year-old, and a 30-year-old. Now, that's a strange age group to be rolling together anyway. What's that 30-year-old doing with his life that he's hanging out with an 18-year-old? What's that 25-year-old doing with his life he's hanging out with an 18-year-old? I can see the 25 and the 30-year-old hanging out. I mean, you out stealing cars with somebody that much younger than you. That's an issue. Got to send this text real quick. Got some guests outside the door and it's locked. On air. Come on, guys. All right. Yeah, a lot of y'all are texting me. And what do they call them in Jackson? What do they call them, students in Jackson? They don't call them students. They call them scholars. Y'all's little scholars ain't being very smart. Again, don't want to see anybody die. Prayers up for the families, all that good stuff. But y'all got to do better. This starts at home. Good Lord, man. I mean, I stole a bicycle once when I was a kid. Ended up being a racing bike. Was worth over $500. I caught a grand larceny charge as a minor. Luckily, I was a minor. You know, but instead, dang, we weren't stealing cars. I mean, they steal cars for sport in Jackson. I don't think there's a big chop shop circuit. I'm sure there's chop shops in Jackson. Don't get me wrong. If there's an illegal operation going on anywhere, it's going on in Jackson, Mississippi. I think kids just stealing cars to joyride in. And now they done lost their life. I mean, find something else to do. I mean, y'all keep telling me, Clay, these kids ain't got nothing to do in Jackson. I mean, y'all keep building basketball courts. That ain't stopping this. I mean, every time I turn around, it's a community center. It's a basketball court. I saw where they tore down Jackson Square finally. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Tore down Jackson Square like 30 years too late. And I guess they're going to build some basketball courts there. This city needs another basketball court like I need a hernia. I don't think basketball courts are stopping the violence. Then every time you see these kids, now I hadn't seen a big outbreak of this summer, and I 100% credit this to the Capitol Police. 100%. I ain't seen all the nonsense of these kids riding their four-wheelers and dirt bikes on the street this year. Now, I'm sure they're still doing it in parts of South and West Jackson. But that downtown, Fondren and Belhaven, it had become a really bad situation over there. Normally I get a bunch of pictures from people, and every time I post them, at least they ain't out murdering and killing nobody. First off, murdering and killing are the same thing. First of all. Murdering and killing are the same thing. These ain't out robbing and stealing and killing. So if they can't ride their four-wheelers and dirt bikes on the streets, the next thing is, look, guys, we got to go rob and kill somebody. I'm bored. In the escalation of events, it goes straight from robbing and killing, riding four-wheelers and dirt bikes on the street illegally, to robbing and killing. Not read a book, watch TV, play a video game, do some push-ups, work out, holler at a girl. None of that. I can think of a dozen. Hang out in the parking lot. It goes straight to robbing businesses, carjacking folks, killing folks, stealing cars. I know carjacking and stealing cars is technically not the same thing. Carjack is if the person that's driving the car is in it. Stealing it is when it's in the driveway or not occupied. Yeah, got a text on the Guns and Gear text line. How about get a job? Yeah. That's what this all comes back down to. Get a dang job. I don't want to work at no fast food restaurant. I don't either. Learn a trade. Learn how to do something. Pull your pants up. Learn how to speak the proper language, proper English, and you'll get a good job. Ain't nobody going to hire you for a quote-unquote real job if you replace the word I don't know with I don't. Ain't happening. Now, when you get 46 years old and you've mastered the English language like I have and you can get a radio show, you can make jokes about own and mine and have a little fun with ebonics and slang. But if you can't even work the deep fryer at McDonald's yet, you ain't earned the right to bastardize the English language. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'll be right back here on 103.9 FM, WYAB. All right, welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. We're live here on 103.9 FM, WYAB. This segment is going to be brought to you by our good friends over at Watkins Construction and Roofing, your hometown roof repair folks. Get over there, or you ain't got to get over there. They'll come to you. Check them out today for your complimentary roof inspection as we get ready for storm season here in Mississippi. I know it seems funny to think about storms in the middle of a drought. I did hear some thunder last night, though. So, look, the sun does damage to your roofs too, folks. The sun does damage to it also. If you think you got any leaks or any damage, give them a call or check them out online, watkinsconstructioninc.com. Like I said, they're going to come out, do a complimentary roof inspection, and whether you're getting a $700 leak fixed or you're getting a new roof put on, they're going to treat everybody the same. Everybody the same, no matter the size of the job. That's Watkins Construction and Roofing. Constant communication. I mean, that's the one thing. You can read their reviews. Constant communication. Every question answered. Michael Deere and his team, the way they treat folks is second to none. Michael will be able to write a book one day about being a team leader and a manager of folks. He's one of the best around that constantly give back to the community. I mean, when you give money to Watkins, when you spend money with Watkins Construction and Roofing, it gets pumped back into the community. It's amazing to watch how fast that business has grown. I used to work in the same building with those guys, and now they're building a mega complex. It's just awesome to see it happen. Couldn't happen to better folks. Anyway, so check them out, watkinsconstructioninc.com for all your roof repair and replacement needs. All right, don't forget, coming up here in hour 2, we're going to be talking about Recovery Fest this Saturday out there in Brandon. The guys are in the waiting room now, in the green room here. We have a luxurious green room out here at WYAB. Got the guys out there. Looking forward to talking to them. Let's see here. I wasn't even going to hit this, but we seem to be on a roll with Jackson today, so I'm going to. I know I want to talk about the Tucker Carlson and Obama thing, and look, at the end of the day, Obama's gay, y'all, and he probably smoked crack. I mean, if you believe half of what Larry Sinclair said, which I don't know why we wouldn't believe it. I mean, Obama said multiple times that he's fantasized about having sex with men. I mean, so the fact that a man's come out and said that, he did in fact have sex with him multiple times, paint me shocked. Not really. He's a very feminine man. It's questionable if his wife is even a woman. But what do you want? What is there? Do we really have anything else to say? I guess I do. I will say this. I think I said this yesterday with Sean. If I didn't, I know I said it on my live stream, but I'll repeat it for the third time. The Democrats seem really mad about it. They do. The Democrats seem really mad about the potential that Obama's gay. And I thought they wanted everything to be gay and black. Oh, yeah. The more protective classes you can lump onto somebody, the better they are in the world of democratism. But for whatever reason, they're like big mad that Obama's maybe gay. So I got two thoughts here. They don't like what Tucker did. Well, they started it with Christine Blasey Ford on the Judge Kavanaugh thing. They didn't think them chickens were going to come home to roost. They didn't think we was going to do that to them. We played dirty too. Ric Flair, the dirtiest player in the game, son. We played dirty too. We're going to drag y'all through the mud. I'm telling you, this Biden corruption thing has gotten so bad that now mud is getting on Obama. They're about to explode this whole Biden regime. They can't have the golden child getting collateral damage over the Biden nonsense. But they started this with Christine Blasey Ford. But now to my other point. Why I think like the Democrat media, the mainstream media, is so upset about it. Tucker Carlson platforming far-right, gay, con man conspiracy theorist. Something tells me he's not a far-right con man. He may be a con man, but I don't. Something tells me he don't check off a lot of boxes to be a far right. But neither here nor there. I think they blew the load on making Obama being all about being the first black. They've got to save, pun intended here, the Trump card for the first gay president. They can't have already had the first gay president. They got to have some collateral. I mean, they got to have, that's worth something to them. They're going to have to use that one day. To them, that is a selling point when they try to push Pete Buttigieg. What did Joe Biden call him? Booty juice? Biden got something right. They're gonna have to. They're gonna need that first gay thing to get somebody across the finish line in their minds. They can't have already used it. You can't like Biden can't get retro credit for being the first gay black president. They're going to need to be able to, you know what they'll do? They'll tweak it, just like a tweaker, like allegedly. They'll tweak it, and they'll say first openly gay. The next gay president. We've already had one. The next gay president, he'll run as the first openly gay president, and that's fine. Again. My views are probably a little more liberal than most. Believe it or not, that stuff doesn't bother me. Oh, the openly part. I can't stand somebody in the closet. I can't stand that closet stuff. I gotta know where we stand, dog. I'll still drink a beer with you. Speaking of beer, anyway, let me stay on course here. They're gonna need that. So that I think that's why they're upset. Like, gosh dang it, we won't be able to use the first gay if Obama was the first gay one. I think it's that plain and simple. I really do, because that's coming. That's in the war chest. That tool is in the toolbox. Let's read a couple texts here. You guys are on it this morning. Guns and Gear text line. I can't read Jerry's text. Richard sent a TikTok. Somebody sent me a Blackberry Smoke song, Let It Burn, says, this is your new intro song. We got You Can't Fix Stupid. Steven says, my youth was misspent because I don't have a juvenile record. See, Steven also says, my buddies and I did a bunch of dumb stuff when we were younger, but stealing cars, robbing, or shooting other kids never crossed our minds. Roger says, Roger, thanks for being all over it, brother. Roger says, matter of days, not weeks or months, days. Let's see, what are we talking about? Let me start over. He says, you can't build anything like a skating rink or a place like an arcade for the kids to hang out because the fights, robbings, and killings will start within a matter of days. Yeah, okay, so circling back to that. Anyway, let me put an explanation point on the Obama stuff. It's entertaining to see come out because it's fun to watch the other side squirm and have to kind of toe the line of not sounding homophobic because they don't want Obama to be gay. So it's just fun watching them have to squirm. It really is. But again, they started this with the Christine Blasey Ford stuff. So, nanny boo-boo. There's more where that came from. Y'all side got a lot of skeletons in the closet. But to Roger's point, circling back to the kids in Jackson not having nothing to do and deciding just to, apparently robbing, stealing, and killing is just right in line. And the pecking order of things to do, it's ride dirt bikes and four-wheelers on the streets is number one. I'm guessing basketball is 50-50 with that, based on the amount of basketball courts we have here. And a solid number two, which I can make the argument that it's number one, based on the crime stats, is robbing, stealing, and killing, as far as things for kids to do in Jackson. Roger mentioned you can't open up a skating rink or arcade. Now look, admittingly, I have not been down County Line Road lately. I have no business on County Line Road. There's nothing that I can't do in Jackson. I'm sorry. There's nothing that I can't do in Rankin or Madison County that's available in Jackson, except a lot less likely to get shot, robbed, be a victim of bored Jackson kids and Canton kids that come to Jackson for their shenanigans. So I haven't been down County Line lately. But, I know we did a whole show because I saw it pop up in my Facebook memories about a year ago. It popped up this last week. Y'all remember we did a show about the bowling alley folks there in the skating ring folks in Florence, a place called Spinners? Y'all remember we did a show about them saying they were going to, I think they did a whole press conference and everything maybe. They were going to open up a bowling alley in Jackson. Right there, I think where the old Toys R Us was or something like that. In that general vicinity, maybe where Academy Sports was or something. What happened to that? Or they do? No, they could be building it again. I haven't been down there, but I laughed hysterically. I mean, a big, deep belly laugh about that. Like they don't think that's really going to work, do they? Who are they pandering to? Because I want to say that was right after they got accused of some kind of racism or something out there. There's some kind of nonsense that went viral because somebody got their feelings hurt. So, you got to be a racist. Yeah, you got into an argument with me. You have to be a racist to disagree with me. That kind of stuff. And the next thing you know, boom, we're opening up a location in Jackson. I bet you're not. I mean, again, I could be 100% wrong here. Maybe somebody in the text messages knows. Lost Sheep says, "Hey, Clay, I just saw there's another small carnival down in Richland parking lot. Let's see if the thugs from Jacktown are going to FAFO in Richland." Man, look, my boy Nick and them at Richland PD, there will not be any FAFOing in Richland. Many have tried, many have failed. Many have tried, many have. That's a fundraiser. The Touchdown Club, or whatever it's called. I saw this on Facebook. It's the only reason I know. That carnival is a fundraiser for the Touchdown Club. So if you're in Richland, get out there, support that. Support the what are they? The Rangers, the Richland Rangers. Get out there and support the Richland Rangers. Let's see here. Scott says, even Spinners in Florence has issues from Jackson folks starting fights in Florence. Shocker. Spook says, great show this morning. The guy doesn't seem credible about Obama. I don't think there's some truth there. I do think there's some truth there with a side of embellishment. Yeah, I mean, look, the guy's obviously a long-time drug addict, but he's been on this story for a long time. Like a lot of us in these deep far-right internet circles, it ain't gonna be that deep far right. Gateway Pundit, InfoWars. I think that's almost mainstream right wing stuff. Been on this for a long time, and we know who Larry Sinclair is. All right, let's take a break. Come back, land the plane for hour one. Coming up in hour two. Stick around, man. We got a great interview in house here, talking about Recovery Fest in Brandon this weekend. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'll be right back on 103.9 FM WYAB. All right, welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. We got a couple minutes left here in the hour. About a minute. So we'll do this instead of getting onto anything. Let me just read some of y'all's texts. I got an update here about the Spinners situation in Jackson for somebody that appears to be in the know. They said they apparently there was a lease hang-up. It was going to be the Academy Sports Building. They couldn't come to a lease agreement, and I was like, well, they dodged a bullet. Literally. And I also said, well, they shouldn't have announced it if they didn't have an agreement in place, and it followed up with they didn't actually announce it. They applied for a business permit with the city, and somehow that got leaked to the news. So that's the story on that. But I will say this, they dodged a bullet. Literally. Would not have worked. 3 to 6 months, maybe. Or however long it took for the first body to have to be scooped up off the floor. Dodged a bullet. Literally. All right. We'll be right back after the top of the hour news break. This is the Clay Edwards Show on WYAB. WYAB. Coming up next, Recovery Fest.
Are you thinking about going out this weekend? Are you thinking about messing around and finding out? Well, when you do mess around and find out, you may end up in jail, whether it be Hinds County, Rankin County, Madison County, or any of the little towns in between. And if you do, hey, look, I have a long and glorious history of messing around and finding out. And I wish I'd had a bail bondsman like Liberty Bail Bonds. If you end up in jail this weekend, get out of jail by calling 601-825-1077. That's Liberty Bail Bonds, serving Jackson and all surrounding areas. So if you mess around and you find out, call Liberty Bail Bonds and they'll bond you out. 601-825-1077.
This Saturday in Brandon. All right, welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. We are live here on 103.9 FM, WYAB. Hour 2 of the Free Range Human Show of Choice, your daily dose of reality radio, is sponsored by our friends over at Stonington Farm Beef. Grass-fed, grass-finished, 100% steroid-free, antibiotic-free, and mRNA-free Mississippi-raised beef. I ate a Stonington Farm chuck eye last night. I cooked 2, so I didn't have to cook again tonight. Anyway, fabulous. But y'all don't be buying up my chuck eyes. Y'all get the other stuff. You get your rib eyes, you get your hamburger meat, you leave my chuck eyes alone. But give them a shot. Check them out online. Stonington, that's Stonington with 2 N's, farm.com. They're right down there in Perkinston, Mississippi. They come up here once a month. They meet at 3 different locations for you to pick your order up. And I'm guessing you can get it other times. So you may have to go down. Maybe they can ship it. I don't know. But they come up here once a month. And you can check out all their cuts, their prices. I'm telling you, try the ground beef. It's the best ground beef you'll ever eat. I put it in everything. I don't buy store-bought ground beef anymore. I mean, I'll still get a store-bought ribeyes here and there. But ground beef, chuck eyes, sirloin, I get all that from Stonington Farm. I mean, I'll tell you, when you know what you're putting in your body, you start looking at that kind of stuff, man, life changes. You start eating right, man, you can control what you put in your body. You can control anything. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. All right, but look, check them out, StoningtonFarm.com. All right, in the studio, I got Eddie Poole. I've got Aubrey Pridgeon, and I've got John Gallagher. We're going to start with Eddie and Aubrey. They've got a big event this Saturday, September 9th, 1 to 8 p.m. It's called Recovery Fest. These are the same fellas that put on Night of Hope. If you're in the Celebrate Recovery kind of scene in churches and stuff like that, you're familiar with this. I know I am. And it's going to be a big event. They got, looks like, I don't want to steal their thunder. We'll start with Eddie. Eddie, man, I met you first. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm great. Thanks for having us, bro.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Let's do this. Tell everybody who's playing Friday night. We'll kind of start at the end and work our way to the beginning.
Okay, at the end of the band?
No. I'm just saying we'll start with the event, and then I want you to tell people who you are and tell them about yourself.
Okay. So the event, it starts, you just want me to give you a timeline of how it rolls out, how it plays?
Yeah, the bands and, just all that stuff.
So from 1 to 3 is a ministry fair that'll be inside the Tornado Room. And 3 o'clock, everything moves outside. We'll have 5 different bands. We'll have Caleb Berry, Free Reign, Given Grace, and then, of course, our Night of Hope worship team, and another church, Hope Fellowship. In between those, I think we got, 3 testimonies?
3 testimonies, yes.
Yeah. And who are they?
We have Greg Pettigrew,
right.
Brandy Miller, right, and Rodney Williams from Club Meth to Christ.
Yeah, I see that here on the flyer, Club Meth to Christ. Boy, been down that road. But it's going to be a good event. I think it's really cool what y'all are doing.
Yeah,
I really do. So when y'all reached out to me, I'm like, this is in my wheelhouse here.
Yeah.
I like this kind of stuff. I like a big event to get people together, and because I think one of the things about addiction and recovery. There's a lot of, and I see the word unashamed and ashamed thrown around a lot in this, and I think shame is a big part of recovery, and being scared to talk about it and being scared to tell your story. And when I started doing this, I was like, man, I'm just going to bear it all because I'd rather me do it than somebody else say, oh yeah, that guy that gets up there and talks all that stuff. Well, he used to be addicted to drugs and this, that, and the other. I'd rather you hear it from me,
right,
than somebody else. I kind of wear it on my shoulder and and roll with it. And, so I know being people in this community, being able to talk to other people is an important thing, be able to get around other people. And when I was doing my Testimonial Tuesday shows every week, I did that because every story may sound the same to somebody who's never fought that battle.
Yes.
But to somebody out there that's been through it, and for somebody out there that's going through it, I know we got people that listen to the show that are battling addictions.
Yeah.
And something I stumbled upon over the years is everybody's rock bottom is different.
No.
Depending on where you started at, or it don't even matter that necessarily, but everybody's rock bottom can be different. And people get to hear the stories and say, hold on, that's where it went wrong for me. That was, okay, they were able to come back from that. I can too.
No.
I don't have to stay here where I'm at.
No.
And like I say, everybody's battle is different. And so that was one of the reasons that motivated me to start the Motivational Tuesday. And then guys like I was telling y'all, the Recovery Lab folks, Danny and them over there, they really grabbed the baton on that and ran with it. And I'm like, it's in good hands.
That's right.
Not saying that they did it because I was doing it, but it was something that also started. And I've interviewed those guys, and I know that the recovery conversations are in good hands. No. With those guys, and we still do them here and there too. So,
yeah. So what's cool about these events. They're just a place where people of like-mindedness or struggles that have had struggles in their life, we can all come and be real. We don't have to put on a mask or nothing, like you were saying, and you can just and be honest, and then that's how you start growing. That's how you recover from this. You can't recover from something if you don't admit what you got a problem with, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Eddie, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Give us the condensed version of your testimony, if you're comfortable doing that.
Yeah, I am, man. Short and sweet. I'm going to try to keep it short. So, November 20th of 2017 is my sobriety date. So I got 6 years coming up, but I was bad off on. I was a heroin, fentanyl, and Dilaudid opiate addict, IV opiate addict, and my son got hooked on the needle at a very young age. And man, when I found out, I was like, man, this is devastating. That if anything was going to stop me from doing dope, it was that. And so he actually went to recovery before me, and because I didn't think I could get off of it, and so he got me into recovery. When I got out, I was I was just in awe. I was like, man, I can't believe that I am clean. And I knew that other people had felt hopeless like that. It's just such a surprise, like, wow, I'm actually clean,
I want to interrupt you for 1 second. You talked about the hopeless and being wowed that you were clean. People who haven't battled opioid addiction or even long-term just prescribed pain medicine.
Right.
People forget what it's like to really be happy and to really be sad and to really have to deal with the emotional roller coaster that is life because you've got this imaginary happy that opioids make you feel.
Yeah.
And I mean, God knows when I took them, the pain is how I was able to get the prescription, but it was the pain was the least of my concerns. It was, man, these things put me in a good mood all the time. I never have to be sad.
All right.
So I think that's something that people just don't understand is when you said that you were just shocked that you could be sober and you could not be addicted. I'm like, one of the first things you realize is you learn how to deal with your real life emotions again.
That's right. Yeah, people think you could drown your sorrows, but unfortunately, your sorrows can swim.
Yeah. Absolutely. So you're coming up on 6 years.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And so tell me how you guys got linked up here. Was Night of Hope an idea that you birthed, or something y'all came up with together? You and Aubrey here. Tell me about Night of Hope.
No, so when I got out, it was like I was saying, I was just I knew other people felt hopeless like me. So initially, I tried to start going to like ghettos and projects, talking to these cats, right? And that did not go over too good. Nobody wanted to hear it. So. So the church that sponsored me, Overflow Church, to go to recovery.
Is that here locally?
That is in McGee.
Okay.
Yeah. I went back to McGee when I got out of recovery because I'd never been there, but that's the church that sponsored me to go. And so they asked me if I wanted to be over a recovery meeting, Celebrate Recovery, there in McGee. And so through that, I was thinking, you know what, we're asking people to come here, but what if people can't come here? And that's where the Night of Hope was birthed. It was like, how about we load up and we go to them? And so we started going to recovery centers, meeting and the directors of those centers and establishing good relationships, letting them know they could trust us, and it has just grown tremendously. All Things New, Aubrey right here, he was my first sponsor that sponsored the events, and so we're very grateful for that.
Yeah. So tell me what Night of Hope is. I mean, now it's like a quarterly big event that y'all do.
Yes, sir. Yes,
quarterly, right? So
right.
Tell people about that.
Yeah, we try to take on one new church a year. So it's only been going 2 years though. So we'll travel to a church. It starts at 6 and ends at 8. Sometimes it goes to 8:30. But we'll have drama teams that'll do the skit, testimonies, some jam up worship sets, you know. So it's just a recovery event, you know. Those are all inside churches, and then this year, this will be our first outdoor. It's grown into this Recovery Fest.
That's awesome, Mike. Let's do this. Let's take a break real quick. When we come back, I want to hear about Aubrey, and we've also got a lifelong friend of mine, John Gallagher,
yes, sir,
here in the studio. He's 3 years, coming up on 3 years sober, or just hit 3 years sober. Congratulations to John. We're going to hear about that. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Talking about Recovery Fest this Saturday, September 9th, 1 to 8 p.m., the Rankin County Tornado Safe Room. That's also known as the Rankin County Multi-Purpose Complex out there. You know where it is, folks. You know where it is. Be there, 1 to 8, Saturday. Free to get in, right?
Free to get in.
Free to get in. You can't beat free. All right, we'll be right back. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Come back into the Clay Edwards Show here on 103.9 FM, WYAB. This segment going to be brought to you by our friends over at Any, Mini, Mighty Mo, Gracie South Jiu-Jitsu and Kickboxing. Get over there, see them. Today I had a friend of mine reach out to me last night, wants to get her son involved. She was like, hey, is there a discount or a special if I mention your name? I'm like, as a matter of fact, it is. Everybody gets the first week free, but after that you get 20% off if you mention that you heard it here on the Clay Edwards Show. They got 2 locations, one out there in Madison on Ridgecrest Drive, and then one in there in Pearl at Fairmont Plaza. That's Gracie South Jiu-Jitsu and Kickboxing. Adult Jiu-Jitsu taught by Hoist Gracie Black Belt and a South Jacksonian legend himself, Mr. Chance Shepard. Then they, of course, have kids Jiu-Jitsu, great way to learn discipline and bully prevention. And, of course, they have women's only self-defense classes taught in a no male intimidation atmosphere by a female coach. And they also have fitness kickboxing, a great non-monotonous workout, just as the ad says there. Nothing more boring than running on a treadmill. Go kick a bag. I got on a treadmill the other night, ran for 3 miles. I was joking with my girlfriend. I said, I did it 3 miles an hour for an hour. She said, you were not running. I was like, I was running. I was running for dear life, running like something was chasing me. And but I do a little show prep on the treadmill. I can watch a podcast or something on my TV. Neither here nor there. I'd have rather been doing kickboxing, but I wasn't. I was doing a monotonous workout on the treadmill. But look, check them out, GracieSouth.com. Make sure they know that you heard it here on the Clay Edwards Show. All right, in the studio with me, I got the guys bringing Recovery Fest, also part of the Night of Hope Ministry Recovery Outreach folks, and that is Aubrey Pridgeon, Eddie Poole, and John Gallagher. And we're going to get to John, I think, in the next segment, maybe, if not sooner. But now we talked to Eddie in the first segment. Now we're going to go to Aubrey Pridgeon. Aubrey is also with, Aubrey, tell us who you're with here. All Things New.
All Things New Ministry, yeah. We're out of Brandon, Mississippi. We share the gospel everywhere. All Things New is usually in a rehab, transitional home, a jail every day of the week. I think we're in about 3 different places today. I have my partner, Scott Walters, is with me. He's actually at a crusade breakfast for GoTel, Rick Gage. He's going to Jackson today to help clean up a house for some people. And this afternoon, we'll be in the Rankin County Jail, and we'll be in the Scott County Jail.
You know, I want to say something real quick. You mentioned Rankin County Jail, and y'all don't have to speak on this. But I know Brian Bailey's been catching a lot of heat lately from folks for stuff. And I'm going to I want to take the opportunity to say something about Brian Bailey. What that man's done with that jail and the opportunities he's extended to people with his trustee program and with allowing ministries like yourselves in there. My friend Benny Ivy, his Strong Arms group is in there. What they're doing, I mean, I'm not here to pass judgment on this other stuff or condone it, condemn it, whatever. But what he's done with that jail and what they're doing with trying to actually help people get their lives on track, that we need folks need to keep that in mind while they're throwing their stones. Oh. Yes, I want to say that.
Yeah, I'll say this too. Last night we baptized 3 women and 3 men, and we baptized thousands of people there, and lots of people's lives have changed. We call it the best church in Mississippi. It's amazing what's happening there, and I know, Brian's a dear friend of mine. Actually, I met him. I was in the Rankin County Jail trustee almost 28 years ago, and when he first started working there. And me and him have been friends. And I'll say this, Brian is one of the most gentle people you'll meet. And a lot's going on, and that's about. But the main thing is we love the people in the jail. They're our people. We give our life for those people behind them blocks and that steel. And we love them. We're for them. We try to help them. We've actually done Nights of Hope in there. We can't invite everybody, but we've done several Nights of Hope, and just amazing. For the inmates there, it's pretty cool.
Well, it's a good opportunity to convert folks. Get people on the right track. I mean, we talk about your rock bottom. Where's your rock bottom? Mine was a holding cell out there in Raymond Detention Center. Stuck out there for 3 or 4 days. In essence, what I guess they would call the drunk tank. And Judge Skinner had a coming to Jesus with me in his courtroom when I finally got to court, and I got the opportunity to thank him for that the other night. I ran into him at my birthday dinner, and but neither here nor there. It's that kind of stuff that can really motivate you.
Yeah, that's what got us. I think all of us. Going back to recovery. We want to teach people that you can have a good time being sober. You can. We used to do all this crazy stuff. I was 23 on the bar, did crazy stuff, none at all. Until I got in trouble. And so,
so you owned a bar?
Yeah, I owned a bar at one time. I had the Redwood Inn on Terry Road. Was my family's old place. And
I have met you before.
Yeah.
Somebody introduced me to you as that, and my dad owned a convenience store on Lynch Street for 40 some odd years.
Yeah.
And so I remember going to Redwood as a kid.
Yeah,
so
footlong hot dogs and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, and so, but my life has changed, man. I had an accident, drinking and driving, a wreck, and people got injured, and I was MDOC. 49364, that's my number. And but man, I'm a born again Christian, and God changed me. I got saved in jail, and I'm a convicted felon with no college education. I made a great living, and I just want to pay back the Lord what the Lord's given to me, and by sharing the gospel.
One of the big things of that I use on my platform is I try to, business owners out here listening, people in positions to hire folks. I tell them all the time, man, give these felons a chance. Man. And we had a girl that was listening one day. I got on a rant about people not hiring felons, and but the job market's obviously changed. A lot of people don't want to work. I was like, felons, if it was me, it's only because I didn't get caught that I'm not. If it was me, I'd be resubmitting my applications.
Yeah.
You got a good chance to possibly get some work when you maybe wouldn't have a year ago. By lunchtime that day, I got a message from a lady. She goes, I just want to thank you. I resubmitted my app to one of the places, and they called back, and I got a job today. But based on what you said on the show, man, that's the kind of stuff that motivates me to still get up and do this every day.
Yeah, it's amazing. We could talk for days and days about what happens at Rankin County. Well, just for instance, yesterday I walked out of the jail, the sheriff's office, and I looked, and there was a little girl, your grown woman, left her job, and she's in a donation car. She's taking care of her kids, and she drove off. And I said, wow, there's that car we gave her. And there she, I gave her a year ago, we gave her a little car. And so just amazing things, testimony after testimony. But, yeah, Night of Hope is so important because, the first part, back to it, from 1 to 3, we're going to have a ministry fair. Any kind of church, any kind of ministry is welcome to come. It's free to set up. See, we're about the kingdom. We're about networking. Jesus with the disciples he didn't have like a box he was in. We're on the roads. That's why we don't even have a building, a church, We use other we have plenty of people.
You go to the centers,
right? We go to where they're at,
and
the jails, the centers, the different places like that. And so, Night of Hope is, a lot of things. Worship is a big part of our walk, man. We worship, and we like good worship music, and there's great music now, and we do the Celebrate Recovery. See, our goal basically is to meet people in the jail. And not just say, hey, here, Jesus, good luck, and all that. We said, no, we're at this Celebrate Recovery at the Point Church every Monday night. Or we're at this Celebrate Recovery on Thursday night at Trinity Church. Or we're at this one over here at Church of the King in Morton on Sunday afternoon. Come see us. Here we are. Here's our phone number. Here's our address. And then because people have to continually walk that walk and keep plugged in, as we say, and because otherwise they'll get steered off in a second. It won't take long. I tell people all the time, I have to say my famous quote is, it's the best day ever. Every day I wake up and I say, this is the best day ever.
No.
And another thing, man, that's so important, is to keep, enjoying life and having a good life, and through Jesus Christ and our change, we're a new creation, and we want to live it and walk it and show other people and show them the love of Jesus.
Man, I can tell, you talk about how easy it is to kind of fall off and get sidetracked and whatnot. I can tell when I ain't been to church in a little while. I feel just spiritually lost a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like my foundation gets a little off. I get a little off center. I get talking about things I might not normally talk about. But when you get in that church, it's funny how this mental state takes over, and you start wanting to avoid topics and wanting to avoid people and wanting to avoid situations and stuff. It's like it's an accountability thing, maybe.
No.
I don't know the best way to describe it, or spiritual, I guess. It's the Spirit taking
Spirit,
over. It's the Holy Spirit getting a hold of you. When you get a good church home, forever my church home will be Hickory Ridge. I don't get to go as much as I used to because it's like an hour drive. That's no excuse, but it's a haul. But when I go, man, you get a good preacher like Pastor Terry Fan out there, and everybody's got their own. And, man, you get a hold of you.
Yeah.
Have you out there raising your hands, singing, and, wanting to live right.
That's right.
And that's what we want with this Night of Hope. We want Holy Spirit to touch people's heart and realize, man, there is another life, and there is fun, and life is good, and God is good, and just feel the Holy Spirit through the music and through the people and being in communion with each other. And it's just really amazing what they do. And about Eddie, I tell you, I met Eddie. We have a Celebrate Recovery at the Point Church in Brandon. It's one of the biggest around. Me and my late wife, Debbie Pridgeon, started it.
Can I ask you this real quick?
Yeah.
The Point, where's that in Brandon?
It's 1120 Star Road in Brandon.
I think there's a guy from there that came by the dealership I was working at, and was buying a car for somebody. I think part of his ministry was to try to buy a vehicle for somebody that needed one, that was going through recovery and stuff like that. So I hear really good things about the Point Church.
Yeah.
I could just tell the guy was doing something. I said, man, is this a ministry for you or something? It was just the way he was talking. And I wish I could remember his name, but he's like, yeah, it is. God just put it on my heart. And he's like, I gave a trailer away to a guy the other day, and I helped a guy start a lawn business the other day. And it's just been this trickle-down effect. And every time I think I'm not going to do something, the Lord tells me, yes, you are.
There you go.
Next thing you do it, and then he blesses you 10 times.
Right.
And that's the good stuff I hear about going on out there at the Point.
Yes, it's a great church and all, and there's lots of great churches. We want every church full. We're not just trying to focus. That's why we're kingdom team.
Right.
And God has blessed me, and I just want other people to be blessed too. But one thing I want to say, Clay, one of the most going back to Rankin County Jail. One of the most amazing things, I tell you, this describes the jail ministry that happens there. I was in there one night, and we were praying for men, and I saw something on the floor like wet, and I thought, there's something wet on the floor here. What is this? And I thought, and I looked down, man, it was tears. It was tears all over the floor of the jail, and it was amazing, And so that's our thing, man. We want to, God knows those tears, and so do we, and we want people's lives to change.
Absolutely. So we're going to take a break real quick. Don't forget, I'm going to plug it. It's this Saturday, September 9th, 1 to 8, right there at the Brandon, the Rankin County Safe Room, the Rankin County Multipurpose Complex, right over there on Marquette Road. 1 to 8. 1 to 3 is going to be the the
Ministry
testimonies
fair,
and
yeah.
ministry and all that. And there's going to be the bands and all that stuff outside. I mean, Caleb Berry's playing.
That's right.
Kayla's huge.
And it's going to get loud.
Yeah, Kayla's huge. And it looks like got some. I guess some of these are Christian rock bands too. They're gonna have a little noise. You know, got 3 doors down, right down the road, right after that. I mean, come on, make it a good night of Mississippi music right there.
Yeah, come on
down. Hey, look, check out their website too. allthingsnewinc.com. That's allthingsnewinc.com. It's Night of Hope, Recovery Outreach, Recovery Fest this Saturday. We'll be right back. We're gonna have John Gallagher, my old South Jackson running buddy, here in the studio. John, got to keep all our secrets secret now. I mean, we got to draw the line somewhere now. All right, we'll be right back. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Come back in to the Clay Edwards Show. Hey, this segment, I feel like this is a great tie-in here. This segment's going to be brought to you by our friends down at Mercy House Teen Challenge.
Come on.
Auto Center right there in Crystal Springs, man. They're doing the Lord's work down there. I know I talk about it a lot. Get down there. If you're looking for a vehicle in that $10,000 to $20,000 range, I know that may sound like a lot of money. It is a lot of money. But if you've been vehicle shopping lately, it ain't a lot of money. They specialize in that price range, and that's a hard market to satisfy, man. But thankfully, because of y'all's great donations and stuff, they're able to price these vehicles right. And look, take advantage of that. Take advantage of people doing the right thing. And look, you got an old car out in your driveway, running or not. Business owners, you got a fleet of vehicles. You don't feel like having to send them to the auction and get pennies on the dollar for them. Get that tax write-off. Get that tax write-off by donating them, because Mercy House Teen Challenge Auto Center is a 501c3 organization. So you can get that tax write-off with that donation. And the good thing is it's going to put fathers back in homes and help battle addictions with their recovery center. And we were just talking about them during the break here, all the great work they do, Matthew Milliman and all those guys down there. It's good folks, man. I've had Matt on the show a couple times. Again, just good folks. You can't go wrong doing business with them. That's mercyhouseautocenter.com, located right there in Crystal Springs, Mississippi. All right. Here in the studio, it's the Recovery Fest guys with Night of Hope. Going to be this Saturday, 1 to 8, right there in Brandon on Marquette Road at the Rankin County Tornado Safe Room / Multipurpose Center. Going to be a good time, a lot of bands. We've talked to Eddie. We've talked to Aubrey. Now we're going to talk to my buddy, John Gallagher. Now, I grew up in South Jackson with John. We burned the roads up together. A lot of McDowell Road, hanging, slanging, and banging.
Oh, yeah.
John, how's it going this morning, brother?
Pretty good, man. We go way back to Midnight Sun, Inez's days.
Yeah.
Even before that. But
yeah.
Apple Ridge to all the way down to
all the way
Bumpers or Sonic or whatever.
Sonic.
Yeah, Sonic.
Apple Ridge to Sonic and everywhere in between.
Junior Food Mart. Yeah.
Good times, man.
Yeah.
I saw a guy get curb stomped at Junior one time, man. It's changed my life. I never want to be that guy.
That might have been me. Yeah.
Oh,
no,
man.
that wasn't me.
that was a tough thing to see. But
Yeah.
you saw a lot of things like that on McDowell Road. We didn't know it at the time. We was growing up in the white ghetto.
That's right.
You know, looking back in hindsight. That kind of stuff don't happen in other places. But John was telling me during the break, man, I didn't even know this. So John's pushing 3 years of sobriety. I don't want to steal his thunder here.
March 11th.
But he said, that's good stuff there, brother. He said that he was in a trap house, high, and listened to the very first Clay Edwards show. And that was the show that I did about ways to become a better man. It was my first show here ever. I'd gone to church that Friday for a men's conference, and it changed the whole trajectory of what I was planning to do. And it's funny how church can do that, right? And one of the things I brought up was, do you know 6 people that your parents could call today if you died to be your pallbearers? And that's something I stand by, man. Make sure you got 6 friends. But John was listening to that show, and shortly after that, he got on the path to sobriety. John, I didn't mean to steal your thunder there, but I want to set it up for you. Tell us about yourself.
Well, like you said, grew up South Jackson, upper middle, kind of middle class. Dad had a hunting and fishing radio show. Mom was, she ran the American Heart Association over there on McWillie.
Where'd your dad have a show at?
He had a show called Hogs and Horns. It was a hunting fishing show. It was broadcast on Sports South. He also ran the boat dealership CNS Marine.
Yeah,
over there in Lakeland.
Yeah,
and it's around. So he did that for many years. And
your dad still around?
No, and he passed away a few years back to cancer. Not long before that, Mom passed away to cancer, and that's kind of about where my spiral started. I was in addiction for about 30 years. I mean, since I was about 12, off and on again. But my spiral really started when people started dying off. And, And I think it all, you talked about your bottom when our segment started, and I reached my bottom, I think, when I was in rehab for heroin addiction. I didn't want to go. I was going just to make everybody else happy, I guess. But about my 27th day,
Never works out like that, does it?
no, you got to want it.
You really
I mean,
do.
you got to. I mean, something's got to happen inside of you.
It's gonna be the hardest fight of your life. You got to want to win it.
It is, but my sister was Amanda. I don't know if you remember Amanda.
I remember Amanda.
She was at this point she was a full-on heroin user. So was I, IV user, and full-on IV meth user, and she had to resuscitate me several times from OD, and she got fed up, sick of it, and begged me to go to rehab. She didn't want to lose me, and I was terrified to go because in my spirit, I felt like that if I went, I'd never see her again. And about my 27th day in, she OD'd and died from a fentanyl overdose, and that's where I hit my bottom. So I left straight from rehab and went straight back to dope, man. Should have ran to Christ, ran straight back to the needle.
Let me ask a question real quick. I meant to ask it earlier. You and Eddie both mentioned fentanyl users.
Mm-hmm.
Are people knowingly taking fentanyl? Like I'm going to get some fentanyl because this missed me when I was going through my stuff. I was a pill user and speed. Are you knowingly doing fentanyl, knowing the dangers of fentanyl, or is it? Or are they lacing? Are you thinking you're doing heroin and you're getting fentanyl? How's this process?
For me, I never knew it was in the mix.
Okay.
And I don't know from Eddie's
I was
experience.
a fentanyl addict. Yeah. I know that's what I was on.
But knowing the potential dangers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious. I didn't know if there was a fentanyl dealer or if it was heroin being laced with fentanyl. Or
well,
what the
it's
deal
both.
was.
But in my case, I'd rather have fentanyl than any.
Sure. Well, yeah, most powerful drug in the world right now, basically. So yeah. All right. I was just curious on that. So I hope parents are listening to this. That's one of the things I always talk about. Is like hopefully, parents and loved ones are start looking for these little things in people, man. And
well, now they're finding fentanyl in the methamphetamine too, from what I hear.
It's crazy, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And those guys are pressing their own pills and putting it in the mix to make it more powerful, and it's killing folks left and right. People are dropping like flies. I've lost so many friends since then, but
one pill can kill.
Oh yeah,
I mean, that's real.
Oh yeah,
that's so real. Mm-hmm. All right. So I didn't mean to cut you off there, but so 27 days. April died.
Oh, Amanda.
I'm sorry, Amanda. April died. Amanda. I got April stuck in my head. Amanda died. I knew another April that.
I have an older sister named April. You might be.
Okay. Well, Amanda dies. You check out a rehab and go get high.
Oh yeah, and at this point in my life, I'd burned just about every bridge with anybody that loved and cared about me, and even my nephews, nieces, all of them. It was bad. I mean, I ended up on the streets of Jackson, wandering, going, trap house to trap house, just doing whatever to get high, and just had given up. I was at the end of my rope, and then I felt like I was at the end of my life, and was in, pretty much suicidal. Wanted it just to be over. And I ended up having this radical encounter with Jesus the day I got arrested. I'd consciously made up my mind that I was going to end it. I was going to commit suicide, and I'd set up a drug deal with a guy, and I was on my way to meet him. And the Lord got involved and had me arrested and delivered me in the holding tank in Richland. And I had this radical encounter with Jesus, put me on my knees, and just changed my life forever. Delivered me from all the drugs, all the grief, all the misery, and that's when I got to Rankin County Jail. It was just a few short weeks, and I met Aubrey, and in the trustee program, and that's about where my walk began. Then I've never been the same. Haven't looked back.
How long were you in Rankin County?
I was in Rankin County just a few short months, but I had to answer to a charge, probation violation in Lamar, and they revoked it, and I ended up in prison in Loosedale for about a year. And that whole stint in prison, which was just over a year, was pretty much a training ground for me to go back in and pull people, out of the darkness. And, some of the prisons are just flooded with drugs. And, it was also a testing ground for me. I was tempted, but I didn't fall back into it. I had absolutely no feeling toward the stuff. And, even my brack mate, but that was below me, he was a daily user and it was offered all the time. And I buried my face in the Bible that Aubrey gave to me.
That's an interesting situation there, because you think you go to, well, nothing else, I could sober up in jail. Then you get offered some dope, and like, well, ain't like I got anything to do tomorrow.
Right, and that's how a lot of guys fall victim in there too. It's because it's readily available, But what they need to realize is what I realized, what I should have realized in rehab when Amanda died, was I could have ran to Christ instead of running back to that needle. But so I'm trying to, like Aubrey, bring the word and bring the gospel and show people that, that there is a way out, that there is light in the darkness, and that, your life can change no matter how bad you think you've got it. Because I was at the bottom. I was in the pit. I mean, I was literally in the pit. And, Jesus pulled me out of it and set me on a solid foundation. And now I have a strong relationship with Christ. And I know that I'll never go back to that life. And I know that he'll give me, he'll provide for me no matter what. And, even in hard times that because it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Once you start this walk with Jesus, it actually gets harder, man. That enemy comes at you even harder the closer you get with Christ. But there's places like, the Night of Hope events, which that radical encounter I had with Jesus in Richland, Holden Cell, the second time I had that presence feeling was at my first Night of Hope event at the Foundry Church. And I mean, it changed my life. It was, coming out of prison, I didn't go straight into a recovery program. I kind of thought, well, I've been just over a year sober, or almost a year and a half sober. I'm good. I don't need a program. I mean, I'm good. I was attending church, but I didn't know how bad. I needed that community until my first recovery meeting. And then a couple of months after that was the Night of Hope. And, my first meeting, I knew I was supposed to be there. I knew I needed to be a part of that.
Hold that thought. We got to take a break real quick. We'll come back. We'll land the plane with you. Let you wrap your story up. Remind everybody again, this Saturday, September 9th, 1 to 8, it's Recovery Fest, brought to you by the Night of Hope folks, right there at the Rankin County Tornado Safe Room on Marquette Road. That's also the Rankin County Multipurpose Complex where they do the rodeos at and all this, that, and the other. You know where it's at. Right down from the convention. Right down from the amphitheater. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be right back to land the plane for the day on 103.9 FM, WYAB. All right, welcome back in. Guys, we got about a minute. John, I'm going to cut you short on your story. We'll catch up and do a round two because just what you were telling me in the break, there's no way we can get the heaviness of that into a minute or two here on the radio. Let's just close with this. First off, I want to thank you guys for coming in today. I'm stoked to be a part of the event. I'll be out there at minimum 1 to 3. Saturday 1 to 5, something like that. I will be going to the concert later that night, so I had to dip out early enough to get ready. But neither here nor there. This Saturday, it's Recovery Fest, September 9th, 1 to 8 p.m. It's the Rankin County Tornado Center.
So excited to see everybody.
Yes.
Yep. Aubrey, it was great talking to you. Eddie, great talking to you again. John, great seeing you. Guys, keep that in mind. Hey, look, if you wanted to, if this has touched you or moved you in any way today, and you feel like, man, addiction's not my struggle, but I want to help somebody that it is. You can donate to All Things New. That's these guys right here. Their Night of Hope program. allthingsnewinc.com. allthingsnewinc.com. And hey guys, I got a special interview I did yesterday with country music, soon to be country music superstar. He's already a star. That is Brian Martin. He sings what I consider the theme song to this show, FAFO. Of course, he got a lot more hits. He just sold out the Grand Ole Opry and more. Got a bunch of stuff coming out with Cody Jinks, and we stumbled into a great conversation about recovery and a testimony and all that yesterday in our 23-minute conversation. It'll be available on the podcast at 10:05. See y'all tomorrow. Stay safe. Stay blessed. Peace out.
Thanks for listening. Tune in tomorrow at 7 a.m. as the Clay Edwards Show discusses all that is going on in and around the city of Jackson.
This concludes our broadcast day.
Right here on 103.9 WYAB.